Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Crypto Invest. At the time of this video, we are about 9 days and 20 hours away from the SegWit2x hard fork. So no doubt in the next few days, I do want to give you as much information as I possibly can so you can make the right decision. So starting with today, I want to explain to you what to expect on the day of the hard fork, which is currently scheduled to be on November 16. So I want to explain to you in the background what is happening with Bitcoin on that day. So before you understand that, you need to understand what is a hard fork, what is a soft fork, what is a chain split, which in this case the chains are being split, and what is a replay protection. So with that, let's get into it. So if you're holding Bitcoin at the moment, you are on what's called the original Bitcoin blockchain, which is the BTC chain. So the way you look at this is transaction on a network, on a BTC network, are being put together into what's called a block, and every 10 minutes a new block is being formed with transaction. Not only that, these blocks are being connected together or linked together, and that's why we call them a blockchain, because these blocks are being chained together. So that's where the name blockchain is coming from. Now with that, what happened is Bitcoin been around for a very long time, and each time, or this is true, basically what I'm telling you here is true for a lot of cryptocurrencies that using blockchain technologies. Now on Bitcoin or any of the blockchain based cryptocurrencies, like for example Litecoin or Dash or Ethereum, the network is constantly being improved, and each time there's an improvement, they put together what's called the improvement protocols, because it is a public blockchain, is a public open source project. Anyone can contribute to the network by putting together what's called the improvement protocols. Now with the improvement protocols, the way to implement them, there are two ways to do that. And based on the protocols, if it is compatible with the current client version, meaning that it's compatible with the previous version, then it's called soft fork, and this happens all the time. A lot of cryptocurrencies go into a soft fork all the time as they make improvement to their network. And one of a very good example of this is Litecoin. So Litecoin went over a lot of soft forks already, so does Bitcoin. Now what happened is, if you have improvement protocols that is not compatible with the current client version, then that's what's called a hard fork. The reason why is because everyone who currently running the Bitcoin client knows, or anyone who has the current Bitcoin client, they do have to make an upgrade to that in order for them to be compatible with the new protocols. And in the case of the SegWit2x hard fork, it is a hard fork because in order to make Bitcoin blocks from 1 megabyte, which is what it's currently at, to a 2 megabyte block size, that does require a hard fork. So it's no longer compatible with the current version. So the important thing here is that soft fork or hard fork, that doesn't mean that there will be a new currency created in the process, if and only if you have full consensus. So because, like I say, this is an open source project, anyone can contribute to the network by putting together a improvement protocol. And then in order for the network to implement the protocol, they do have to have consensus. So if everyone look at a protocol and they agree to do the upgrade, then that protocol will be executed. If the network have no consensus, then there is no upgrade to the network. Now what happened is, sometimes there are protocol that are being approved without any problems. So then, even though it's a hard fork, so a very good example of this is Steemit. So Steam network have gone through a lot of hard forks, but you don't see a bunch of Steam version out there because a lot of time they have full consensus. So everyone agree to update their current client. So therefore, everyone be on the most updated version. So there's no chain split. Everyone stay together. Now, in the case, and I apologize for that pop-up, it's going to come down in just a second here. So in the case of no consensus, but it is a strong contender for protocol. So in the case of Bitcoin, for example, when there is a split in terms of consensus, some people want bigger block size, some people don't want bigger block size, and there's enough of them. Some people is going to decide to go ahead and fork the network to get the version that they think are the best for Bitcoin. So that's gonna cause what's called a chain split. So the way that it happened, and I'm take this for example, think about back in August when we have the Bitcoin Cash split. So at the time of the split, what happened is there's only one Bitcoin change of transaction up to the day of the split, which is on August 1st. And on that day, there's gonna be a fork of the chain. So the chain gonna be split into two. So there's a new chain now that starting with the new transaction details, but they still carry on the same old transaction details, which is the blue section here, and then the new transaction detail gonna pick up starting with the new block. However, they still have the same transaction detail at the original blockchain. And they're gonna carry on from that point forward. It splits, so you're gonna have its own transaction, and it move forward. Then, now what happened to the original chain is that it's gonna continue to move on with its original chain. So in this case, the blue section here, you can see it continue to move on, which is what we have today with Bitcoin. So the split happened, and it's gonna go from these block right here to the new blocks, which is the Bitcoin Cash split on a new chain, and then the original Bitcoin chain gonna continue to add on as business as usual. Now, at the time of the split, the same amount of coin gonna exist on both network because they have the same protocols up to this point. So same protocols up to this point, and they also have the same transaction detail, so same history up to this point. And not only that, they have the same wallet address and private keys because everything is the same until this point. So at the time of the split, you will get your Bitcoin Cash on the Bitcoin Cash network, which have the same address and private key at the original Bitcoin. So because of the shared details here. Because of that, it's introduced something called a replay attack risk. So the replay attack risk is the risk that because on a new chain, you will have the same wallet address and private keys. When you do want to send transaction from the Bitcoin Cash network, there is a chance that someone can get a hold of that information and then rebroadcast that onto the original Bitcoin blockchain to get your Bitcoin as well, and vice versa, because it does have the same wallet address and private key. So in theory, that does happen. So in the case of Bitcoin Cash, and in the case of a lot of hard fork, they do implement something called a replay attack protection, just because of this reason, to protect people from losing money when they try to use their coins after a chain split. So that's why it is important. Now, in the case of the SegWit2x hard fork coming up, the same thing is happening here. So on November the 16th, the chain gonna split into two again with the new transaction details starting from that point forward. But everything else up to that point, so the blue section here, is gonna be identical between the two chains, the current Bitcoin chain and the SegWit chain, except after that, that's where the two chain gonna be different, because the original chain here, the blue line, is gonna continue to go on, business as usual, but then the new SegWit 2 exchange is going to start their own transaction details after the final blocks on the day of the fork. So everything else up here applies. So same number of coins, same history for SegWit and SegWit 2x Bitcoin up to the day of the split. And when you split them, same wallet address and private keys. Now the important you have to notice here, and a lot of people talk about it, is that SegWit 2x split does not have the replay attack protection. So I don't want to go into details why they don't have that. A lot of them are just speculation and not factual. I just want to tell them that they don't have replay protection. So what happened in the case of a chain split with no replay protection is that you have to be on an exchange or on a wallet that will implement their own replay protection to protect you from the replay attack that I mentioned earlier. So that's the key. So on November the 16th, at the time of the split, this is what you're gonna expect, and this is what happened after that. So I hope that this is a pretty high level explanation, but I hope that it helped you get some, gain some understanding of what is happening in the background on that date. So stay tuned for more information. I'm gonna give you a lot more information about SegWit 2x in the next coming days, and all the way up to the day of the split. So thank you so much for watching. I hope that this information help you understand this a little better. If it does, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more information. And with that, thank you very much for watching. I will talk to you soon. Bye bye.